What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today, guys, I'm going to be going over my top 7 running backs heading into 2021 season. And yeah, I did this for quarterbacks. I'm going to continue it up. Next, I guess, will be wide receivers. After that, I'll do tight ends, and then we'll move over to the defense. If you didn't watch the quarterback video, I'm not going to be doing offensive line just because, I'm not an NFL expert, so I don't want to be made fun of for that video. So, if you guys really want to see it, you can let me know. But I most likely will not be doing that. And yeah, if you come to enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And let's get right into it. So, number one, really to no surprise, especially being a Titans fan, I have Derrick Henry here. I don't know what else to say. He just came off a 2,000-yard season. He did lose Dennis Kelly this offseason, which obviously sucks. But I guess technically we gained Taylor Lewan. Taylor Lewan was injured for, like half of the season. So, getting Taylor Lewan back is going to help us a lot. And then Kendall Lamb will most likely be starting, probably. So, yeah, I think, I don't think he's necessarily going to rush for 2,000 yards again. I guess with 17 games now, I guess I wouldn't say it's impossible, but especially with it being Derrick Henry, but I don't think he will. But I'd have to imagine that, he's probably, I can't imagine him not being the NFL leader in rushing yards, honestly. Dalvin Cook definitely had a really good season last year, and they definitely could go offensive line first round. So Dalvin Cook can definitely make the case for rushing title. Same thing with Nick Chubb, but I got Derrick Henry there. Being a Titans fan, you could call me a little biased, but I feel like no matter what, I feel like really on any list, Derrick Henry should be number one. And we probably are going to be using I just blanked out on his name. Jeez, why can't I remember it? He's on the tip of my tongue, but whatever his name is, the backup running back, I can't think of his name right now. I'm an idiot, but we'll most likely be giving him more carries, and he'll obviously be more the receiving back. But yeah, moving on to number 2, Christian McCaffrey. Once again, shouldn't really be a surprise here. And yeah, I think Christian McCaffrey, coming off of obviously an injured season, obviously coming off an injured season, it definitely can influence him. Don't get me wrong, and all. I just think, even when you saw him like coming off his big injury, obviously he came back for a few games. I guess he came back for, one game, I think, or something, and then got injured again for the rest of the season. And in 3 games, he had 374 all-purpose yards, so, it definitely looked like the injury didn't really affect him too much, and, typically, injuries when, he was fully recovered, because, there was probably, I don't remember exactly how many, but knowing, because he was on one of my fantasy teams, he was there was 3 weeks, unless I'm thinking of a different player, that was maybe he'll start or whatever, or maybe he'll come back in, and then a couple days before it's okay, he's out. And that happened, I feel like, for 3 weeks straight. Unless I know that also kind of happened with Michael Thomas too, so I could be thinking just of him, but I thought that happened with Christian McCaffrey too. But nonetheless, I think they definitely might go offensive tackle first round. And, with Sam Darnold, obviously, they still have a quarterback. They're going to be passing. But with Sam Darnold, I can't imagine they're going to pass as much. So I think Christian McCaffrey will most likely get a good amount of carries. And they got Taylor Morton back, so that's obviously going to help him out. And, yeah, so number 3, I have Dalvin Cook here. I just think this is the way to go. I think it's debatable, but coming off a 1,790-yard season, I believe was his numbers. Not exactly, but about that. I mean, you can't just, ignore the fact that he just did that, especially with missing, I guess, or why did I say 790? I guess like 590, I'm pretty sure. Which already is an amazing season. Like, already probably, aside from the fact Derrick Henry, obviously rushed for 2,000 yards in a normal season, that would be, the yardage leader, as well as or I guess the rushing title, I should say, as well as probably making a first-team All-Pro. But obviously Derrick Henry rushed for 2K yards, but also he missed, I believe, 3 games. Is that right? I think it was 3 or 2 games. I mean, he missed 3 or 2 games and still rushed for that many yards. Also, he had a decent amount of yards on the ground, receiving. I don't remember the exact number, but I think it was like 300 or something. So, a pretty good amount right there as well. So I think he's going to be great this season. I definitely think, like I said, I think he definitely can compete with Derrick Henry for the rushing title. And yeah, so moving on to number 4, I actually have Saquon Barkley here. Man, this one's such a toss-up to me. I think it's between Nick Chubb and Saquon, but I put Saquon here. They still definitely could go offensive line first round. I doubt they will, but they could go, or they most likely will go second round offensive line. And then obviously they got Kenny Golladay, so that should put a little pressure off of him. But because I feel like he was getting a lot of carries, and that's what kind of can cause him to get injured. But I don't think the injury is going to phase him too much. I mean, he definitely did not start the season off great. That's what worries me, and that's what, honestly is almost making me consider taking him off the list. But for now, I just can't go against Saquon. I mean, you can't forget what what he did, the past few years. Before he got injured. So I'm sticking to it. I'm having him at 4. Daniel Jones, I still think can be his franchise guy. And yeah, I mean, obviously he's a running back, so it doesn't really entirely matter what the quarterback does, but it definitely helps him out to have a good quarterback, and I think that Daniel Jones is a solid quarterback, so I think he'll be solid with them. Moving on to number 5, like I said, I mean, this is a debate. So Nick Chubb here, he's so, I mean, he would have rushed for a good amount for sure. Yeah, I mean, obviously he's a stud. I mean, he's at the number 5 spot. So, obviously he's still a stud. No, don't get me wrong. But obviously, like I said, he's at the number 5 spot. I just don't know. I mean, I think, also, I mean, he's not obviously the greatest receiving back. I mean, he's better than, like, your Derrick Henry type, receiving back. But, he's not up there with, like, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon, Alvin Kamara. He's not up there. But I do think he's going to have a really good season behind the Browns' probably best offensive line they've had in a while. Honestly, probably almost ever in the franchise. I mean, not ever, but in a while, man. I mean, probably in the 2000s. But, yeah, moving on to number 6. Here I have Alvin Kamara. I don't know why I said it like that, but and yeah, I mean, I think especially with Jameis and I guess Taysom, I don't know how that's gonna work with quarterback and not Drew Brees. I don't think they'll be passing as much. I think they'll be running a lot more, which I guess is technically good and bad for Alvin Kamara because I mean, he led the team in receiving yards, I believe. Yeah, that sounds right. Actually, I don't know if that's right, but I think he got over like 750 receiving yards or something. I mean, he had a really good year. I mean, he really, he was great this season, man. I mean, he had one of his better seasons. Rushing wasn't amazing, but I think he either just passed 1,000 or he was right below it, but he got around there. And then, obviously, I mean, had a 6th rushing touchdown game, so, obviously that's going to help with his rushing year. But, yeah, so I have Alvin Kamara there. And moving on to finally number 7. Man, this one's so tough for me because I have Jonathan Taylor here, but man, it's so tough between Jonathan Taylor and Cam Akers, and you're probably like, Cam Akers? It's because you have to keep in mind, I actually saw this, or I did kind of some math or whatever. I probably did it completely wrong, but over Cam Akers, like most recent 7 games that he played, including playoffs, he averaged 89 yards over those 7 games, which means if he rushed for a full year like that, he would have rushed for, I guess, over around, not exactly, but around like 1,400, 1,300 yards, which obviously is really good. I do think, though, and the reason he's not here is also because, he has Stafford now, so I think the Rams will be passing a little bit more. Not like a crap ton more, but, I mean, you could tell, like, in the playoffs, I mean, Cam Akers was really getting the ball, man. I mean, especially against Seattle and then against the Patriots in the regular season. Both games he rushed over 100 and, I guess, 40-something yards. Yeah, I mean, he got the ball a lot. I mean, his average is still good. I mean, I think in both those games he averaged probably over, like, 5.5 yards a carry, which is obviously still really good. And obviously, if you have that many yards, you're going to average pretty solid. But no, I have Jonathan Taylor here just because, with Carson Wentz now there, I think they're going to run the ball more. And, he's behind one of the best offensive lines in football, if not the best. And he ended the year really hot. He was the 3rd leading back in rushing yards. I don't know why I said receiving. And, obviously, he's a pretty good receiving back as well. I mean, I think he definitely can, with a full, like, good season, meaning, because, like, I mean, he kind of turned it up or in, like, the second half of the season, like, Cam Akers. Also, keep in mind, Jonathan Taylor did miss, I think, a couple games, or 1 game. I don't remember the exact amount, but, nonetheless, I'm pretty sure, what was I saying? If he played like a full season, a good season, then I think he definitely could get up to about 500 receiving yards, 400. He's a really solid receiving back. I think also, like I said, at a full season playing, solid. I seriously do think that he can get to up that like 1,200, 1,300, or maybe not that high, but around that range. But yeah, that's my list. So let me know if you guys would change anything. I feel like I have some controversial things here, and yeah, I think this honestly might be one of the better rushing seasons that we've had in recent memory. I mean, we just have so many good running backs. Last season was kind of not a great rushing season, obviously. I mean, taking out Derrick Henry and Dalvin Cook. The next best was 1,100 with Jonathan Taylor. So last season wasn't great, but I think going into this season, we have just so many good running backs that, I mean, if they can stay healthy, I really do think this is going to be one of the better rushing seasons we've had in a while. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace out.